night to the earth, a mission from God to find out the worth of everything that his children had done since that winter night, the birth of his son. And then a sound filled the night in the cold winter air, and in the midst of his flight, it was holding him there. And as he looked towards the earth for the source of the sound on that cold winter night, it was pulling him down. To bring something back, this angel was told that no one could touch, but angels could hold. So on that night, when the sky had cleared, among all the stars, an angel appeared. And then a sound filled the night, the cold winter air, and in the midst of his flight, it was holding him there. And as he looked towards the earth for the source of the sound on that cold winter night, it was pulling him down.
So this is kind of cool. I just set up OBS so that it actually records my audio without without plugins, you know, like no limiter or anything, to a separate track from the processed audio that goes to my stream, so I can process it later. But also it records the music to a separate track as well. So when I do this video on my main channel, where there's actually monetization that's like worth half a shit, unlike the live channel, I won't get a copyright claim. So I can listen to my Christmas music and not have to care. It's beautiful. I'm just gonna lower my Christmas music a little bit. Alright, so my Christmas music should be about 30 dB below me. Yay. So, let's get started on some machines now, shall we?
And then a sound filled the night,
Christmas music is below everyone.
winter air, and in the midst of his flight,
I don't know who everyone is. I'm the only other person here.
and as he looked towards the earth for the source of the sound,
Oreo is off killing mice. He's hard at work. He's hard at work. That would require logging in at Twitch, which requires two-factor authentication, which requires remembering where I put my phone, and that's probably not going to happen in PR. Yeah, it's easy on YouTube because there's none of that bullshit two-factor whatever that wastes time, which is why I'm usually logged in on YouTube and not Twitch. All right. Hey everybody, how's it going? So here we have an A1466 that does not appear to be turning on. We're going to open this thing up and see if we can figure out why it's not turning on and make it work again. Make somebody happy this Christmas with the gift of a working Apple product. Hey, some people are made happy by a working Apple product. Anyway, let's open this thing up and see what we got going on inside here. What do you think about the whole China thing going on right now? Oh, it's really interesting. You got so many different angles to it. So the first thing you got is you have the extradition treaty with, I think it got people on edge because now they're expecting a bunch of other bad things to happen. And, you know, I don't really see that why the Hong Kong people are wrong for assuming that bad things could happen. I also think it's interesting that this whole, you know, Hong Kong being returned to China thing in 2030 or 2040 something, I don't see that happening. I just don't. You know, I don't. Then there's there were some protesters setting people on fire, but there's also a lot of interesting evidence mounting that suggests that those people were not actually protesters, that those were people planted by the Chinese government to make the protesters look bad. You have people who are looking on and saying, wow, those protesters are so uncivil because they see that. It's very interesting. But there's so little that I actually know about it. I'm not well enough informed to really give a good opinion there. That being said, I just don't, I don't trust the Chinese government very much. I think that some of the, one of the things is I read a lot of these articles and I see what is going on, and it's hard for me to really understand why it is protesters do certain things, because it seems some of the things that they're doing are just screwing over their own fellow countrymen, not the communist Chinese government. But then I have to wonder, are those actual protesters, or are those people that are being paid to look like protesters so that the protesters are then discredited? One sec, let's just clean some spam out of my live chat, and then we will continue. It was fun. I expect spam on the main channel, but it's lame when you get the crap on this channel too. One sec. Okay, logged in, and you're gone. Bye bye. Anyway, so it's in. So one of the interviews that I found interesting is when they said, "Would you denounce violence being used? Or would you denounce this?" And they wouldn't. That point, I don't think that was a very smart thing to do. I actually had an argument with Anna in the Discord over this, because if you say that you disavow people who are doing bad things, it makes it sound like you did something wrong. I disagree. I think that if you were to say, "Listen, we disavow anybody doing that, and anybody doing that is not a part of our movement," it makes it seem more legitimate. When they said, oh yeah, all the like beating up a bus driver that's clearing stuff in the street to get people through is something that is not something that should be disavowed. I think they're kind of screwing themselves a little bit, because there are people that may be looking on going, damn, I get that you don't like the Chinese government, but why are you not disavowing people that are beating up bus drivers that are trying to clear blockade just so that they can get people to work so that they can afford to continue living in their homes, kind of thing. But again, this is just an outsider view. I don't live in Hong Kong or China. I don't understand the culture very well, and for me to comment on what's going on, I'm probably just going to sound like an ignorant jackass, because I don't know what's going on there. I only know what I see going on from the very limited view I get from the media, or what the media chooses to report to me. And yeah, again, I don't trust the Chinese government at all. But I just don't think, I think that it's important for you to say, if somebody winds up getting lit on fire, or a bus driver gets the shit kicked out of him by a group of people, that you say, listen, we're peaceful protesters, that's not okay, and if they're claiming to be protesters, they're not with us. It was actually 1 year ago I caught a live stream. On well time I got to donate. Thanks for everything, Lewis. Your wisdom has helped me along the past years. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Zigzag. No matter what culture you're in, it's generally unacceptable to beat up people or cause physical harm. I don't know. If somebody's trying to take me to a prison camp where I'm going to be kept and forced to work for the rest of my life, I may try to beat the shit out of them. But is that the bus driver? I'm listening to Christmas music. Did you watch the 30-minute Oreo video? He seemed unhappy. No, he's quite happy. It's impossible to make that kitty less than happy. Okay, anyway, back to work. So we open this MacBook. Get the fuck. Let's open up the power supply software. Get that on the screen, along with the multimeter software. Alright, looks like this MacBook is taking 30 milliamps and not turning on. It blinks to 500 milliamps for a millisecond at a time. That's lame. That's really lame. Alright, let's take this apart and see why it's doing that. I don't know what I'm going to be in, Kopaz. If we're open, you can. If we're not, then you can't. Oreo holds a grudge with the butt wipes. Indeed he does. Christmas music is distracting. It's Christmas time. Christopher Kelly, they all suck. I mean, they're overworked, underpaid, and they have a shitty job. You're blinking, 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 blinking. 30, 500 milliamps. 30, then 500 milliamps. It's perfectly clean. Or is it? Random. Random. At some point you'll wind up being able to see this from a mile away. This board has a greenie. Alright, I have some concern for this pad on the upper left. Is there a pad left? See, it looked like there was no pad over there. But watch this. This is magic. You ready? I remember in the beginning thinking if the solder pad is gone, there's nothing you can do. You have to send it off to the magical company to fix it. And then they do magic and then it works again. It's not magic. They're scraping it with an X-Acto knife. But it's really funny how before you know how to do something properly, it's really easy to just assume that it's magic. And I used to think that all this stuff was magic. So embarrassing. I can look back on me from 10 years ago and just, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. No, I don't want any of that corrosion to be there. So I'm not putting a bunch of solder because I want a lot of solder on the pad. What I'm doing is I added flux, and now I'm just doing this because I want the corrosion and the junk to get sucked up into that big solder ball. Consider a 45-degree corner on your front desk as the new store. One more station and more customer room, as many stations. You know, it might be a little late for that, unfortunately. But I appreciate the suggestion. Alright, that pad in the upper left, I did save it, but it's missing a little bit. See, it's not as long as the other ones. See that? You know what, I'll reinforce it with a little jumper. Why suck the corrosion into a solder blob rather than cleaning it off with isopropyl and a Q-tip? Because the Q-tip is going to leave annoying little hairs in the board that I have to clean up later unless I use some super expensive Q-tip. Also, I have to tin the pads anyway, and I want to get rid of the old solder on the pads. So I'm going to have to do that work anyway. So if there's a way that I could get two things done in one step rather than two things done in two steps, for efficiency's sake, it makes sense to do it that way. And I kind of try to show this stuff the way I think it would make sense to do it. Because once you're at the point of having the volume of repairs that we do, stuff like that really does start to add up and matter. And there's repairs I do on camera where I'm explaining everything as I go and I'm taking my sweet ass time. But there's also a lot of stuff I do off camera where I just go at full speed. And where that saved time actually does matter. And it does make you able to get more jobs done. It was only very recently that I had a lot of employees here. It wasn't long ago at this place that every board repair was being done by me personally. And many of those and I got a lot of the same habits still. It's weird because the amount of time I save with just little instinctual stuff like that, I wind up wasting on OCD. Like I want the solder pad to still be as square as it was before. Like this genuinely doesn't matter. It's only going to matter if this machine falls off a cliff, and at that point enough stuff is going to break inside of it that the thing I'm being OCD about right now won't matter. I don't know. I haven't looked at the Pepsi. There hasn't been much Pepsi ever since I started giving them the liquor, I noticed. Steve had asked him about putting a kitchenette in, but I really don't. I'm not for that because I know what the guy's gonna say. Like, he's probably gonna say, "Oh, you want a little? What is it you wanted installed, Paul? A sink and
a sink, a counter, and some cabinets."
Yeah, a sink, a counter, and some cabinets. He's probably gonna wind up saying that I know he's gonna say $7,000. That seems to be his go-to number for anything that's slightly different than it was before. So Steve was asking, you know, what would it cost on this other side since we haven't done anything yet? What if we wanted a kitchenette put in? And that's, yeah. What, you want an actual break room? Bathroom has an amazing sink in it. You just need to pay a plumber to get the water run. Yeah, and this guy's gonna say $7,000. That's why I'm not. He called today to talk to Steve about this stuff, but Steve wasn't available because it's a weekend, and yeah, he has a work-life balance. We'll let him keep the semblance of that. But I know what it's gonna be. He's gonna call tomorrow and he's gonna say it's $7,000. Like I have a tingling feeling, or $5,900. Because there's already a pipe there. But again, Paul said if it's too much, he'll wind up doing it himself after the fact. I think that's what we're going to wind up doing. Because for certain things, it makes more money. It makes more sense to pay someone to do it than to do it ourselves, because the amount of time it'll take and the amount of repairs we won't be able to do, it just doesn't make sense in contrast to paying a contractor. Well, once he says it'll be like $7K to add a sink and a small counter here, that's the point where it just makes sense for us to do it ourselves. All right, so let's see what happens now that we've replaced that, and let's also see what this little chip over here is for. This seems to be a frequent corroder in the last 2 weeks. All right, we're just going to open up the software. Paul Daniels software here. Paul. Oh. You should shoot this door empty and compare and stream. Maybe. Alright, so with this is that little logic gate that takes ALSYS power good and PM sleep S3L, and if they're both present, it puts out CPU VCCST power good. And that's a signal that goes to the CPU that tells it power good, turn on, bro. So when it was boosting, when you saw that it was taking 500 milliamps for that split second, that was it actually turning on. It was actually turning on to the full, because 500 milliamps is what this thing takes when it turns on. Keep in mind, it wasn't going up to 200 to 300 milliamps like the troll from the other day. It was going up to a full 500, which means it was turning on, CPU and all. And they decided to just turn off because that signal wasn't present. So every other rail was likely working. When I see that a machine goes all the way up to 500 milliamps and then turns off, that typically means that every rail is turning on, which means that there's likely not a short, but rather there's a signal missing that's going to keep it from turning on, and it's your job to find out what that signal is. And again, the reason I don't ultrasonic the boards before I work on them, can you imagine if I get this in my comment section like 5 times a week. Why don't you ultrasonic the board? Why don't you clean it before? How are you going to find that? How are you ever going to find corrosion under that little chip? Also, which signal is keeping it from turning on? Look through the schematic. There's 76 pages of signals in the schematic. 76 pages. You're telling me you're going to figure out exactly which one is... No, you're not. You need hints. And that's what this provides you with. So anyway, let's see that this turns on and works, which it will. It's going to take 500 milliamps and stay there, because that's the way it works. You piece...
Internal power.
It's doing the same thing. Motherflower. Alright. That's a troll. That's straight up trolling. That is such a troll. Okay. PP5 ES5 is a steady 5. PP5 ES4 is 0 because the enable is not going to be there, as is usual. Why are the boards vertical? Because of Paul Daniels. I've given up. He's won. I'm not going to fight him on it anymore. I can't fight him on it anymore. Thank you very much, Pierre. This is straight up trolling. Any corrosion in the surrounding area? Whoa, look at that. Pick and place, put the resistor on backwards. Not backwards, I mean. Look at that. Whoa. Look at that resistor. With a real resist. Look at that. Standing. That's crazy. Wow, that resistor is in the wrong way. I bet Paul Daniels programmed the pick and place machine that populated this board. Dirty. Let's see if all this power good is pulsing. Turn it off. Turn it on. Interesting. Now it's not oh, it's it. I want to see if False's power good turns on when that turns on. Okay, you're stuck at 100 milliamps. False's power good does spike on for a moment. So that means everywhere on the system except for CPU vCore is pretty much a go. So I don't know. That's really bad. Also, power good is spiking. I wonder if there's corrosion right underneath the CPU, because if it got in that section of the board, something probably got underneath the CPU that I can't see. Yeah, so what I measured there was also power good, and I saw that it spiked. What are the chances I put on a bad logic gate? You know, let's see if that's it, because that's really all I can chase at this point. There's no hint of anything. It's not going to be any of the other rails. Checking the other rails for shorts is useless because also power good comes on. This is just a Hail Mary at this point. I'll give this one to an L because he's had a very good rate of fixing boards that I failed at recently. If he's still here, I'll give him this. He'll love it. It would be funny if I was getting trolled by that MOSFET. Christopher Kelly, I've thought about it. It would be, honestly, it's very quite tempting in a tech racks kind of way to put some self-leveling concrete on a MacBook. When everybody keeps asking what about the self-leveling concrete, I think we should just put it on a machine and see what it does. But Lewis, what about my self-leveling concrete? But Lewis, what about the self-leveling concrete? But Lewis, why no self-leveling concrete? But Lewis, why no self-leveling concrete? My phone is ringing. Why is my phone ringing while I'm streaming? Ah, because I forgot to turn it off. Damn it. How can I help you? Yes. Only for data recovery. Alright. No. Huh. Anywhere from 300 to 450 usually. Oh, cool. Thank you. You have a good day. All right. Okay. 1 second. And now I have an easy air no power for you. You've had such great luck with all the boards that I couldn't fix. Here you go. All says power good spikes to 3.3 volts for 100 milliseconds and then it dies. Because you've been able to fix all the boards I failed at. You're good at this. Make me proud. I don't like this Christmas song. Why am I listening to my own YouTube video? What the f... Hey everybody, how's it going? Here we have an A1502 that's not powering on. Let's open this thing up and see if we can make it work again. Yep, and you never will, Map Wales. You never will. I'm afraid to ask, Sammy. Alright, let's see what this machine's doing. So as I always say, one of the first things I like to do here, see how much power it's taking. This one's taking 23 milliamps, not doing anything. Usually a PM Sleep S4L missing. We'll be leaving that one for David. David likes missing PM Sleep S4L. So I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this from here. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. You really want to see someone who loves his PM Sleep S4L. Hmm? Why? Look at Paul's soldering station. He's the master. He is the master of the missing PM Sleep S4L.
What did I walk in on?
We were just talking about your queue and the easy stuff that you can usually find in it. What's that?
Is that the proper shit for a 2010?
No, you need DDR 1066 for 2010.
So 1600, yeah, that's why the things. I'm going nuts trying to figure out if I did something wrong to this machine because it's not turning on now. He wanted it upgraded. He bought.
I figure DDR 1080 or 1066. It's not this. Let me see.
It's not 1600. It's 1066.
I believe 1066 or the one above 1066. 1066, I believe, is what you need. Yeah, it's gonna beep. Is it beeping?
No, it's just brain dead with this in.
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
Hangs.
That's the wrong RAM. 2011 and up. Paul loves him some PM Sleep S4L. If you train new hires, you only hire experienced people. I'm kind of forced to only hire experienced people. So in New York City, you're not allowed to have an unpaid internship, and you can't pay people less than $15 an hour. So the way I learned all of this stuff is I begged every single recording studio in the city to let me on. I told them I'd clean your toilets with a toothbrush if need be, just so I could get my foot in the door and get some experience, learn something. I worked at one place called Progressive Music for free, and then I worked at Avatar Studios for free for 3 months. And then after 3 months, 40 to 60 hours a week for free, I got to work for $7.50 an hour, which at the time that made me one of the big boys on campus, because the normal production assistants got $7.15 an hour, which is minimum wage. I got $7.50 an hour because I was an intern in the tech room. So I got that extra 35 cents that I could push my weight around. Look at how important I am. I could afford toppings on my pizza. But that was, but yeah. So now, like, I just, if you have no experience, I have no use for you. Because, like, I can't hire somebody at 16 or 20 bucks an hour if they have zero experience. It's just, you got to know something. So the way I deal with that is I create a bunch of educational stuff that people can use to get themselves up to speed a little bit and learn. But yeah, the way I learned a lot of this stuff, and the way I was able to come up and learn something when I was 17 and nobody would hire me and I had no experience and I had no common sense, that stuff is pretty much gone. I actually do believe that way of having an internship was illegal at the time. You need a minimum wage or college credit, and I was not getting minimum wage or college credit for that internship, which technically made it illegal, but they're out of business, so it's not like I'm ratting on someone who can actually get in trouble for it anymore. But yeah, I mean, if you don't have experience, it's just genuinely useless to me. It's something I get asked about a lot because I've been against the higher minimum wage, yet people find that confusing since the pay schedule here for the amount of time that you've worked here is typically more than most other repair shops in the area. I like there being a path for people who started where I did with zero experience, zero common sense, zero work ethic, who really had no idea how to interface with the world or paying clients, to be able to go from negative to actually learning something. But I also want people who, once they do have that level of knowledge or skill set, to have a path to get paid more than shit. Anyway. Oh my. Oh. That is one corroded board. Oh no. CPU V-core area has corrosion. CPU got 12 volts probably. SMC. Backlight. 5 volt, 3 volt. Oh. I hate boards like this. Because there's so many different issues in so many different areas. Especially if your issue is missing PM sleep S4L, because now really this is going to be kind of like a marathon board. So, obviously, backlight circuit, I don't care about at the moment. We care about... and clock circuit. Don't forget that. Yeah, so there's so many things that could be causing this to be missing PM sleep S4L. Bad clock, bad 3 and 5 volt rail, bad SMC. Or dead CPU. So we've got... Let's just get rid of the preliminary corrosion. Can I get a job? No, you need experience, but how can I get experience if I don't have a chance? Yeah, that's the thing. Again, like, this is the part that I recognize, that when I got my first job at the studio business, that I was not worth jack shit to anybody because I had no experience. But how do you get experience if nobody wants to hire you? And the way I was able to get experience is by saying, I will clean your toilets, I will clean musician puke, and I will do all the bitch work that nobody else wants to do here, and I will do it for free, and I'll make sure that I don't ask questions, that I don't bother anybody, that I'm just I'll just be a fly on the wall. But that's not legal. And I get why it's not legal, because there's people that'll abuse the crap out of it and hire people that are down on their luck and garbage conditions and take advantage. But also, where do you get it, the experience? Because that's the thing. It's like, if somebody has zero experience and they're a shipping person, right? Like, let's say I'm not saying 7 to 10 bucks an hour is good pay. It's shit. But like, if you're 16 years old and you have no experience, all right, maybe I'll find something for you to do for that amount. But if I got to pay you 17 or 20, do I really need to hire you, or could I hire a shipping person that can also troubleshoot when there's an issue with PHP things on my website, that spends a little bit of time on Code Academy, maybe is a little smarter, has a little bit more knowledge. Like, I have to pay it anyway, I might as well get my money's worth, kind of thing. That's just the way that my thinking would go as a business owner. I try to pay people fair, but I also have sympathy for how those kind of stuff affects people that are on the absolute bottom that can't find a job. Because I still, to this day, I don't think I'd be able to get a job. I mean, seriously, the reason I have a business is not because I'm a genius. It's because nobody would hire me. No matter what I did, I could never find a place that would hire me. I'm pretty sure that even if today, if I put out a resume and said, started a company from nothing, did this, ran business with this revenue that went up over time, satisfied this many customers, I would still be unable to get a job. It's hard to get a job. Hard to work your way in and get any experience. Until the rich are forced to create opportunity instead of hoard their cash. How do you force someone to create opportunity? Ugh, this board's disgusting. That's the gross pro point. Capital gains taxes could help. No, that doesn't help, because what you do is you wind up just having people taking assets that they would have to pay for if they cashed out of them, and getting a relationship at a bank where they can borrow against their holdings at 1% interest rates without ever creating a taxable event. So one way you get around capital gains tax, if you want to be able to invest further into something, is you just get a loan at really low interest and you use your stock as collateral for the loan. That doesn't create a taxable event, and also usually the terms are so ridiculous that it's like how long you're given to repay it and how low the interest rate is, that it just makes sense to do it that way. I mean, you can get around any of these things. The real solution is to figure out a way to get people to stop being cunts. Alex, usually it's really just a flat rate, so I don't have to decide it for the most part. 10 euros for the Christmas music. Make the new store as nice as you can. Do you know more about the ISL9240 from the knockoff iPhone battery case? We got one, it's just, do you really want to pay $129 every time you have to replace one chip? And have to do the labor of reballing it? I mean, I see that it's present, it's just, that should not be the solution. It's a pretty bad solution. Well, when you say capital gains tax, you have to think about what type of capital gains there are, because you have different types of capital gains. And if you're somebody who bought if you're some bro that bought some stock that quadrupled in value and you haven't really done jack shit or added to society, and you didn't buy it on the IPO, you bought it after. That's different, in my opinion, than someone who, built a farm over 10 years and then sold it once, kind of. You got to figure out a way to make... If you're going to have the state implement taxes like that, you have to find a way that really, really zooms in and figures out who are the rent seekers and who are the producers. Who is a rent seeker and who is actually producing something worthwhile. And if... It's easier said than done. It's a really hard thing to do. Do you feel that YouTube is a rewarding hobby? It can be. I don't care, fatty. Means I lose the 50 cents I would have got from YouTube for this stream. I don't give a fuck. I want my Christmas music. Make a video on how I fixed the MacBook or other electronic device and then you'll hire me, right? We'll see. We'll see. Why do you want a job here? There's so many better, nicer companies you can get a job for. You're not stuck working for an asshole. What model are you fixing? I just joined. This is an 820-4924 board from an A1502 MacBook from 2015. Thank you, by the way. Someone said the government literally does protect us. Ah ha ha. Ah ha 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 ha. Ah ha 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 ha. Yes, like when they send people to my store that give me a $1,000 fine because they added a rule that wasn't in the regulations, but that I'm still responsible for, even if it wasn't in the regulations as they were printed out to me, about having the license number on the receipt. Or when they fine my neighbor $300 for not having his license number on his business card. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. No, thank you. I don't want your protection. Or like when Apple can confiscate my batteries at the border. Unless I'm able to provide a certificate of authenticity that shows that I was allowed to get them from Apple. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, government does protect me. Uh-huh. Yeah. How about I keep that 30 to 50% I give you every year and I'll just protect myself? What are those gummy bears inside the chip for? That's supposed to keep it from moving around when it gets dropped, but it doesn't really do the job very well. That's what underfill is for. That stuff doesn't really do jack shit. Underfill does something. You can't boycott Christmas, Travis. I'm going to play more Christmas music for you. I'll make it louder if you say that. Local governments make a lot of money off of fines people pay. Yeah, that's one of the interesting things that I... Because there was a lot of shit back and forth on when that Michael Brown case happened. You know, was the cop justified in using the force or not? Was the kid being a thug or not? But what the real story there as to why the community fucking hated the police is because the community, regardless of anything in the Michael Brown case, like just put that shit aside for a moment, was the police were using the broke people in the community as a piggy bank by fining the fuck out of them and ticketing the hell out of them for every little fucking thing, to the point where people were very, very on edge and just had a fundamental disdain for the police. Man, if you're getting ticketed left and right for everything, you're not going to like them either. Do I like the Department of Consumer Affairs? No. I mean, we called them just to ask, hey, we're moving to a new store. How can we change the licenses over? And they were literally screaming on the phone at us. Fucking screaming. I'll find the phone calls and post them at some point. It's the fastest way to make somebody a libertarian. Like, I'll just play the recordings of Hannah saying, we'd like to give you $1,000 for the 3 licenses for the new store, so can you politely help me get this done? Oh, man. And, like, it's a troll toll because you don't actually provide anything. It's not like if a customer complains, you investigate. You don't help us in any way, shape, or form. You don't figure out if we're qualified to do our job. You haven't asked a single fucking question about whether or not I know how to fix boards once in the past 8 years I've had my license in this specific location. It's a troll toll. And you can't even be nice or polite when I'm trying to give you an additional $1,000 to Hannah, who's very nice to everybody. But yeah, it was interesting when I was really digging in and reading up about it, because many people seem to focus on the wrong point when they look at something like that. Or why are people so aggravated at this thing? Well, it's not just that thing they're aggravated at. That was the breaking point. The local government using the local government in that area was using the citizens as a piggy bank. So when the Michael Brown shit happened, it wasn't even about like what happened, what are the details, or just fuck those people. Providing potential customers your business license is really important. 300 is a pretty paltry fine. It's literally in the store though. It's in the store. It's hanging out a license right up by the register. Now, if you add a provision that says it has to be on the business card, what you could do is you could walk in. Here's the thing. If you want people to actually support the government rather than support an overthrow of it and try to avoid every single tax they can because they fucking hate you, what you could do is walk into a store and say, hey, by the way, I noticed you're a new business on the block. Really cool that you rented the store. Wow. wow, you didn't have any money to start this place, and you just kind of started it by yourself with money you saved over 4 years to pay your rent and security. That's cool. So by the way, I see your cards. You don't have a license number on it. That's technically a violation. So I'm not going to write you up this time, but I need you to change this. At the very least, can you write the number on all of these? Have your receptionist, because I see there's not a lot of people in the store, write the number on all of these, and then when you go to Vistaprint, just put the number on the bottom of it for me, so that and show me in 1 week. Send me a picture that this is there, so that I don't have to write you up. Or what you could do is you could walk into a store and say, oh yeah, you don't have a license number here? That's $250. You need it on the... Oh, it's not in the receipt either? No, I'm not going to tell you. Can you just log into your POS system and in 10 seconds just add the number? I'm going to fucking fine you $1,000 from it. Even though you just opened the store that you could barely afford rent on, and you're in a most expensive city in the United States. Because again, there's different ways to handle things. There's a way to handle things where people want to work with you, and then there's a way to handle things where people just say, fuck you, fuck you. Fuck you, fuck the government you work for, fuck the mayor, fuck the governor, fuck your agency, fuck your taxes, fuck you. There's ways to deal with people. You're delusional if you believe the government doesn't keep your store from being robbed every day. I mean, I'm glad you're not using logo. I don't even know what you mean by logo. I'm glad you're not using logo. Yeah, the government helped with the tip jar theft. Dude, they don't... One of the things that's helped me from not getting robbed every day is having a gate that I paid for and cameras.
If you wonder why she showed no fear when all these strange things did appear, perhaps in truth...
The worker that issues a $1,000 fine doesn't have choices. Do they now? Are they recorded? Is somebody walking behind them with a gun to their head that says, if you tell this person, I'll check back in a week, that they're going to get fired? Explain. And, there are ways to relate to the community that will make people like the local government more. There are ways that you can, it's the same thing with police related, because people criticize, when people say, why are people in this neighborhood so aggravated with the police? Well, how does the police deal with people in that local community versus how the police will deal with people in another local community? People are going to treat you the way that you treat them. CNN or Fox News, who's better? I don't watch any of that. It's like watching wrestling. Find another place to get your news. Let's see. Christmas sucks if you have no one to spend it with. Yep, I'll agree. The government protects customers from you. You sell scammed batteries that are actually OEM Apple, but they cannot admit it. Wait a sec, so how am I scamming people if I'm giving them OEM batteries? My brain. That hurt. OANN is the best news network. Are you kidding me? Workers have no choices. I think I heard that from German troops. I was following orders. I had no choice. You literally have government participation to thank you for your popularity and biz success, you dumbass. It seems like you're incapable of having a discussion anymore without insulting. And you can't spell my name. How are you calling me dumb when you can't spell my name? That's awful. You have government participation to thank you for your popularity. Is it? Do I have government participation to thank for my business success? Or do I have the fact that, in popularity, or is it the fact that I provide educational content that people also think is funny? Like when people log onto my channel, do they think this guy, oh, there's something interesting here that made me laugh? Or do they think, wow, the government really made me like this? I mean, I don't even understand the argument at this point. What is the government allowing me to do? The law is plainly clear that you need to have it on all promotional materials. In 2019, it is. Yes, it is. 1 year after I got fined, they made sure to include all of that information prominently in the over 600-page manual that they give out to people. You know when they didn't include that information prominently? 2012, when I got my license. But you don't have to have rules that apply equally to everybody if you have the ability to fine anyone. If you can say it doesn't matter what is written down, we can fine you for it if it comes out later. I saw the MTA is hiring 500 additional cops to patrol the subway even though they have financial issues. Oh yeah, that is not going over well. So the idea is we're going to keep people from jumping the turnstile with these 500 subway police, and that's going to help us create new revenue. But you have to just kind of figure out 500 times the salaries for those policemen versus how many people are actually jumping the turnstiles and how much revenue are you missing out on. It doesn't add up if that's the particular reason for it. Are you saying we'd enjoy the government more if we've never enforced the laws? No. No, I'm suggesting that there's better ways of community outreach than screwing people. Like, you don't have to charge $1,200. Like, charging somebody $1,000 rather than saying, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you log into your POS system and edit this for me in front of me so I can check this off, that you have this done? That's charging somebody $2,000 to bend the pin on the screen cable. Technically, you did what was asked. That part was not functioning. And you could reasonably assume that the part connected to it is not functioning and charge $2,000. But one of the reasons for my popularity, by the way, which doesn't have to do with government, is that people like that I don't do that to people. And people like that I expose people that try to rip you off. And if you're going to have that type of interaction with somebody, I think you're just trying to rip them off. The logo that I made for you. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't deserve the logo that you made for me. I don't. Your name is right under the video, LOL, says Remdog. I don't know. If somebody says I'm a dumbass and they can't spell my name when it's right under the videos, I think I'm just going to go back to fixing my board. Whose cameras wouldn't be worth anything if there wasn't a police force to show them to a law enforcement agency. And what did they do when they got that information, my friend? What happened to the tip jar thief? What happened to the time my basement got robbed? Did they even show up? They have quotas. Oh, and who sets their quotas? Who sets their quotas? Who sets their quotas? Anyway. We're going to give this SMC a little bit of a reflow. No, they have quotas. They have to do it. Why are you blaming government for having poor community relations? Well, they have quotas. To take people's money. Lewis, you already reflowed it. You know what? I did forget I already reflowed it. Prime Minister Scott Morrison left to Hawaii. His country is burning down. And firemen all over the world are fighting fires without getting pay. Government works. Those are each It's complicated if you bring up a bunch of different groups. I can't speak for all government. Can't say New York government works fucked up. You have to look at individual instances. Like, you can't look at how the police acted in a certain area and then say all police are bad. But I lived here and I did business here for a really long time at this point, so I'm pretty familiar at how much New York government sucks.
Now, for someone else's sake, one by one, those dreams of
Okay, you don't get to call me a dumbass and then spell your Y-O-U-R when you mean you are. You got to go. Yeah. You don't. Sorry, man. If you're gonna call me a dumbass, you gotta learn how to spell. You're being a salty kid. It's time to go. I don't call you a dumbass. I just tell you my experience, what the laws are, and why people are agitated with them. Alright. But if I did call you a dumbass, I'd make sure not to spell it with a B instead of a P. Alright. Got to go. Ugh. We can have discussions about things we feel strongly about. Now see, Chris Long's someone that I probably disagree with on some things and agree on others, but we can actually have a discussion about things. I don't call Chris a dumbass. He don't call me a dumbass. He may call me a dumbass for putting the ISO 9239 on backwards, in which case he'd be completely correct. Thank you, True Vader. Merry Christmas to you as well. That was so salty. I misspelled it because you're not worth more than voice to text to me. Just... Bye-bye. We're gonna carry our salt over into this once PM Sleep S4L is still missing after all this shit. You'll see some real salt momentarily. These are tough times to not become ideologically possessed in. I've been checking myself to make sure I don't become too... Okay. Let's see what happens here. Ho ho! 600 milliamps! Yes! A fan is spinning! Oh shit, wait, the fan is spinning. This is the model where the fan's not supposed to spin until it hits like 90 degrees in the CPU. No. This is actually ventilating itself. Something must have went wrong. Alright, let me at least check up on my backlight circuit since that didn't look very nice. Alright. How's everything going, Mr. Chris Long? You see the beautiful picture I made for you on Discord? I have not checked my Discord yet. You still have enough anti-dandruff spray for Oreo? Yes, I do, and he's enjoying it very much, Catherine. Thank you so much. I saw you testify. You're awesome, Melissa. Thank you, Rave. Chip upside down? Nope, this is the chip that was on the board already. Solder popped out everywhere besides the 2 current sense pins, so I expect those to be corroded. And what do you know? They are. Is the fan spin due to the board being hot from soldering? I was hoping for 250 to 300k, Eric Shiz. That would have allowed me to do everything properly from the get-go. Like proper contractor, proper architect, have one firm do everything. Have time to find them, get all the equipment and everything that I'd need to do. No half-assing shit. But you deal with what you get. The new space looks like it'll be amazing. I'm excited to see when it's finished out. Me too. You'll see, we're going to make this place work and it's going to be amazing. I shoestring it. I have plans for this year and I'm excited for them. I don't want to say exactly what they are. But there are certain industries that I think could use a little bit of... Companies, I should say, that deserve a little bit of disrupting that are not Apple. That have been getting away with certain stuff for a really long time. Alright, too much solder on the center pad is my signature. Really. See what this is. B and C. I think you know where I'm going with this. Somebody needs to get called out for telling somebody that they wanted $1,000 to do data recovery on a phone that had nothing but a bad charge for it. Because that specific company is the only company that Apple will actually recommend people go to for data recovery. And certain people have rested on their laurels for way too long and just had the business flowing in and flowing in and flowing in. And once we've got a bunch of data recovery benches and all the tools and 3 or 5 people that do nothing but work on that type of data recovery, it's about time they know. That your $1,000 charge port is. That's how they pay for their AdWords. But we'll see. I think it's going to be fun. I'm abstaining from calling Erica an Apple user. Because if she's an Apple user, but she could fix the light that I didn't even plug in right, then what does that say for me? Yeah, the phone stuff does pay less and less, but it seems like the newer ones are shittier and shittier. So many iPhone 10s die for no reason. And that whole having to take the board apart to get to a thing, mwah. Every time I think that it's going to be easy enough for normal shops to get into doing this and undercut, it's like Apple just lobs up a nice gift. Such considerate people they are.
But the music box continues to turn. Candle in the window continues to burn. But I know they're just memories. Christmas past, girl, you and me, yeah. Remember that old fireplace, the ever-room and warm embrace, as we watched for Christmas ghosts.
Nice, Emin.
Fire held those
Why was the wall in the new store put in front of the breaker panel?
now upon
Because it was.
Christmas Eve. Candle wax of melted dreams.
Because it was.
Ornaments of shattered glass, now belonging to the past. All these things now long gone, and not to be wished upon again. But the music box continues to turn. Candle in the window continues to burn.
Rob, on those phones, do you actually have to disassemble the board in order to see if there's corrosion inside of it?
Christmas past, girl, you and me. I miss you, baby. Yes, I do. And it's been far too long, girl, since I last laid eyes on you.
Go away, short circuit. Go away, bridge.
Candles burning. You know I'm gonna wait. The clock is ticking. I know it's not too late.
Is that there's no fucking. An ultrasonic cleaner should make the rest of this nice and pretty again. There's one resistor there that's going to bother me if I leave it though. I'm not sure, Voodoo.
I've got the candle lit for you to see. And beside this window, I will wait. For inside this night, I know it's not too
The most magical thing about this night, we will now reiterate, is no matter where you are tonight, it never is too late.
Oreo, what did you yell at me for? Oreo. 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 Come here, Oreo. Come here. Psst, psst, psst. Oreo. Oreo. Fixed?
Oh, that. It was rain then.
Oh.
Fixed.
You fixed? What fixed?
Fixed the wrong part.
You gave me a dead CPU. Oh, Paul, check this out. Color coordinate.
Ooh, a gradient.
Color coordinated. That's pretty.
Oh shit, let's lock it in. Let's start.
2, 3. F6.
And spin.
Nope. 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 Maybe. Maybe. Ooh. A1989, no power. I take it. No. I don't know where that came from. I don't use NZXT.
You might as well take that air no power on mine.
Where's Oreo? Oreo, come on camera. Shop kitty, shop kitty. Oreo requests suspended cat walkways and ramps. Look at this kitten.
Oreo doesn't get all that. Cat.
Do you think he's going to keep us from having a mouse problem in the new place? He's following you. Look, he's running after you. This is so cute. Now he stopped as soon as you turn around. He's adorable. He's an Oreo. He's my Oreo. What a cute kitty. An Oreo stream indeed, C80. Company says it can extract emails and passwords from locked iPhones.
Good that we remember.
Huh.
Just as soon
I
as
would
we've discovered
be skeptical.
that the things we do in life
When I asked Lewis if his breaker was going to be in front of the wall, he said yes. I don't think I ever knew.
so from a fading star,
That's a Stephen Paul question.
somewhere shining in the night we found the Father, far away, now reflecting in its light.
Oreo for Oreo's tip jar. I love my little Oreo. He's my kitten. Oreo is my kitten. He goes meow meow. I had a board with corrosion on SMC, 3 volt, 5 volt, CPU circuit, MEM VTT, and DDI VTT.
Ew.
I know. Now I'm gonna see if it has a brain. The thing, this is a 2015 A1502 Paul, and the fan turns on immediately, so I'm very afraid.
This guy's gonna have more of a brain.
She's coming home this Christmas Day.
Ow! Another machine fixed. Chosen at random. Random.
It all had changed. Everything is now as it should be. I had the ornament, I had the perfect tree, I had the string of lights, I had a chance to see everything that my heart thought could be. For all the dreams, you were the first I knew, and every other one was a charade of you. You stayed close when I was far away. And in the darkest night, you always were the star who always took your seat, no matter who we are. So she's coming home this Christmas Day.
Merry Christmas, Merry, Merry Christmas now. I shouldn't sing. Don't sing.
Time to take our leave,
Don't fucking sing.
but may God keep you and protect you on this and every Christmas Eve.
As is your taste, Tom Losh. As is your taste. As is your taste. If you don't like Trans-Siberian Orchestra, your taste sucks. I haven't, Plasmar. Okay. Hey everybody, how's it going? So today we're going to be getting started fixing an A1708 non-touch bar 2016-17 MacBook Pro. Let's open this thing up and figure out why it's not powering on and see if we can make it work again. How do you quote repairs? We charge based on what their problem is. Logic board repair costs this much, screen costs that much, battery costs this much, trackpad costs that much. saying it's not that. It's that 99% of the time it's going to be the GPU itself that failed, and you can't buy one. So like, what's the point? And there's no schematics or diagrams or anything available for it, so it's just pointless for me. I mean, technically, if somebody really wanted to fuck around and reverse engineer and torture themselves, they could probably figure it out. But the amount of time that you're going to put into it is likely going to exceed the value of the product. Now, there are ways to make it a bit easier to figure things out. I mean, there are things that could be done that would make it easier to figure things out. But, you know, having schematics, diagrams, board views, spare parts, availability, all that, but that's stuff, we don't live in a world where that exists, so. By the way, if anybody wants to please bro on phone stuff, Chris Long is in the chat. He is our native regular iPhone expert, so by all means, begin the please broing. His name is BNC Connection, for those of you who are unaware of who Chris Long is. When it's done, Kevin. Once it's done, we move in. No idea, Mark Spector. Maybe ITC Extreme? ITC Extreme? Just don't ask me how to find them. Alright, so it looks like this takes 5 volts, 260 milliamps, but doesn't seem to want to get up to 20 volts. Let's take the board out of the case and try and figure out why that is. Now, on the older MacBooks, there is such thing as you having a green-orange light in the charger, charger's turning on, or no light in the charger, charger not turning on. The reason I plugged this USB-C amp meter in between the charger and the board is same general principle. 5 volts, charger's not turning on. 20 volts, it is turning on. How are you doing? Mean-like? Don't know how to pronounce the names in Twitch. You Twitch people use funny names. Is that the easy air no power? Is it an easy air no power? SMC reset resistor? What? Look at that font.
I mean, probably someone fucked up the label.
Yeah, that was before we had Paul to make the label go on landscape. Wow. This is a 320 gigabyte hard drive. This is Firewire. Firewire. A Firewire iOmega hard drive.
What do I do with it? Do I contact the customer?
Yeah. Give them back their data, you fuck. Just because it's ticket 9190 doesn't mean they don't need it. I'd be surprised if that was even in the store. I wonder if that ticket was back from when we were in the basement at 251 West 30th. Paul, are you excited to be moving soon? To have space? My office is really weird to think about, but where's my actual... Let me find something before I take this apart. Do you have any AAAs? Am I back up here? All right.
Reflow of ice and,
Reflowed what? That was easy. Okay, so my office in the new place is 299 square feet. That's just my space. And that space is going to be for me and no one else. This office has him, me, and him. And let's see how much space it is. This is my current office. This is going to make me depressed.
Don't forget about the loss factor of the bathroom.
Oh yeah, there's a loss factor of the bathroom. We're not even going to include the loss factor of the bathroom yet here. Yeah, so let's see. How much is this shithole here? Okay, this is 150 square feet, but the bathroom is not included because of loss factor. So let's get rid of the loss factor of the bathroom. The bathroom is 14 square feet, Paul. All right, so that means that this...
137 square feet? 136 square feet?
Yeah, so there's 136 square feet for this office.
By 3.
Why?
How much are chickens allowed to have?
How much are chickens allowed? Yeah. So we have 136 square feet for 3 people. So there's 150. And then 14 square foot for the bathroom. Chickens are supposed to have about 100 to 120 square feet for grazing without pecking. And we get 45 square foot per person.
No wonder why we're pecking each other.
We get 45 square feet per person at this fucking store. I'm gonna have 299 square feet just for myself. Yeah, my new office is twice the size of this, and it's just for me. Unless Paul starts filming, which he will. Paul said he wants to record every single missing PM Sleep S4L that goes in his queue and explain it on camera. This is gonna be cool. Okay, back to this. So it's 320 square feet with the New York City loss factor included. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody said this was a 700 square foot office.
It's orphan. It's orphan.
Why do you have more than one? Why is it in the letter then?
Do you know that this is not part of the architectural drawings for the building? If you look up the Department of Buildings, this little office here doesn't exist. Did he just shoot you? Shoot him in the dick, Paul. Shoot him in the dick. Hey. Paul, I need a gun. Arm me.
I'm empty. You stole my extra gun.
That's not loaded, bro.
Paul, load me. Wait a second. Did I just say that out loud? Don't load me. Give me bullets. Does this thing work?
Probably not.
Is this an actual scope? Does this work, Paul?
No.
So I should just aim.
It's nowhere near being accurate.
Ah! Don't forget personal space circles. What personal space? David, give me bullets. David, give me bullets. We can't let Staten Island win the war. Uh-oh. All the mail fell off the mail cart. Did you just hit him in the dick? Paul, what are you doing? Paul, can you show the people what you're doing? What the fuck is that? Paul again, get him. He initiated this war.
That left a mark. I know that left a mark.
Sound like you're vacuuming.
This thing sucks.
Seriously? You know what? It's not gonna shoot.
Ah. I thought it wasn't gonna shoot.
They shoot 3 guns.
Separate office won't fit your organization culture. No, it's going to be perfect because I'm going to have a little hole in it. There's going to be a very small hole that I drill in it with a window that allows me to start shooting the staff, but that allows me to have complete cover. It's going to be beautiful. Need bullets. I do wonder what I'm going to do with 299 square feet to myself.
Mess it up.
I'm never going to mess it up. Besides what I already messed up by not having insulation on the floor. Yeah, a little bit of ESD. Have the floor match Oreo. I hit him in the cap. This gun actually has the best range. Have you noticed? Oh, besides the manual one. What are you doing? That cannot be OSHA approved. This cannot possibly have OSHA's blessing. Do you want a roof-mounted RC Sentry Bot? I don't know what a Sentry Bot is. But thank you. Why not a remote-controlled turret outside of the wall? I'll put that next to the self-leveling cement. You know what I really want to do? I want to take a MacBook for the biggest douchebag customer and just fill it with self-leveling concrete. and film it. But I want to do a video titled, "We finally decided to use self-leveling concrete," and just dip a customer's machine right in it. Ideally, it would be what would occur is a YouTube viewer who said, "Why not self-leveling concrete?" sent the MacBook in, and we just encapsulate it in self-leveling concrete. Do you think that would be enjoyable, Paul? I am going to have to get a window in my office, or if not a window, I need to get a drone. If I'm going to attack Kevin with a drone, I need a drone with a camera. So I'm... Actually, crap, yeah, Paul. How are you going to be able to attack Kevin with the drone now?
My drone has a camera.
Oh yeah, your drone has a camera. Yeah, you're going to need the camera in order to attack Kevin. Why am I still listening to this song on repeat? No, we'll place it in self-leveling epoxy instead. Would make for a great Yelp review. Almost certainly. I think we get excellent Yelp reviews if we put someone's MacBook inside of self-leveling concrete.
It's so level.
When I really thought that I was being too OCD with it, and then when I actually walked on it and compared it to the other part of the floor where the Fiosant was, I'm very happy.
It has a nice feel.
Self-leveling concrete. I want the self-leveling concrete. It's a Nerf gun that you control remotely. The A1708 board is uncomfortable to remove from the case because of the Wi-Fi wire area. Should have made the floor out of MacBooks or the boxes that got sent in to you. I think we would have had enough material to level the floor ourselves with the MacBook boxes. I still don't get how they think that they're going to finish all this by the end of the month. You really think that they're going to be able to do the floor? Hell, I mean, do the ceramic tile on the front after the epoxy in the front.
I think by shortly after, it's maybe 1 or 2 weeks into January, I think it'll be done.
By the way, I think Paul was wrong with his theory on the self-leveling concrete. It would not flow right out the door. It would flow right into the basement.
Oh yeah, the basement doors first.
Yeah.
It would flow right into the basement. And then
So let's see what we got here. Our CD3215s look perfectly clean. I don't remember. I would just give it to her. Give her one long screw, Paul. I was talking about a MacBook, by the way, in case Paul's mom is listening. That is missing one screw. Alright, what do we have here? Are you going to put self-leveling concrete in the bathroom? I'm not sure what they have planned for how they're going to level the bathroom. I think what they're planning is to not do it and wait for us to want to kill them. At which point I'll be happy that I made Steve and Paul in charge of project. If he leaves and says, yeah, the bathroom's on you, would you put him in self-leveling concrete? Would you dip the contractor in self-leveling concrete? Quick said. Branson?
good try, but more like molten solder.
When is opening day for the new store? When it's done?
Early February.
When it's done. Alright, so the first thing we do here is see if we have our pip3v3 underscore G3 hot. pip3v3 underscore G3 hot is going to be created right down here. I believe. I'm not sure though, I forget. Looks like we have 0.2 volts instead of 3.3. see, this is an 00875 or a 00840? This is 00840. Let's look up a schematic in a board view. Let's use Paul Daniels' life-changing software over here. Everybody, to say thank you to Paul Daniels for making this amazing software that helps me do my job. Go to youtube.com/19PLD73. That's youtube.com/19PLD73. And say thank you to Paul Daniels. Alright, so over here, this is the PP3V3_G3 hot power supply. Now, many people ask, why am I always so concerned about this rail? Well, that's a great question. This rail that this chip creates goes to this chip over here, and this chip is going to power this chip over here is going to speak to what powers to my charger. This chip, the USB-C port controller over here, U3100, this powers this edit. Oh, I can't speak today. God damn. Alright. So PP3V3_G3 hot is going to power the chip that tells the charger to put out 20 volts rather than putting out 5 volts. So right now my charger is stuck at 5 volts. And if you look over here, voltage in, see that? Goes over here, PP3V3_G3 hot, UPCXA. And PP3V3_G3 hot, UPCXA comes from PP3V3_G3 hot. So if this chip doesn't create that, then this chip over here, which is the USB-C port controller, USB-C port controller won't turn on, and it won't tell the charger to put out 20 volts rather than 5. Remember, this USB-C charger, this is a universal standard. And I can plug this into a GoPro, a phone, or a MacBook. It'll work with everything, but it needs to know how much voltage to put out. And it's going to start by putting out the lowest voltage, and it's not going to up it until it speaks to that. And here's, bitch, I'm a MacBook. I want my 20 volts. But it's not doing that. So it's not going to up itself to 20 volts until it speaks to that USB-C port controller. And that USB-C port controller is dead because its power line, it's supposed to be producing it, is nothing. So let's try and figure out why that's the case. So if we switch over here, you'll see that this chip needs to be getting enable on pin 10 in order to work. So we need it to be enabled. That's what EN stands for. We also need it to have supply voltage on pin 2. So let's check pin 2, and let's also check pin 10. So pin 10 is barely visible. It's actually really hard to see. But it looks like it goes to this probe point right above it. So I can just check over here. So it looks like the enable is present. So it is being asked to turn on. So now I can potentially blame the chip if it doesn't want to turn on. So now we're going to go to the other points. What are we getting at the supply? Pin 2. .6 volts. And we have 5 volts going in. 5 volts going in. And that's going to get lowered a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, by the diode. I also believe there is a 0 ohm resistor, R6906, that's a little far up here. Let's see, is there any voltage drop here? Hello? Okay, we got... Why are you blinking? That's strange. .13. It's nice and steady. 5.13. Nice and steady. 4.6, a little bit of voltage drop from the diode, that's fine. And Enable is present. Output is 0.3. Alright, now we gotta figure out what's pulling it down. Maybe there's a short circuit to ground on the line. $390, let's see, 0.380 million ohms. So that's 380,000 ohms. So 380,000 ohms, that doesn't sound like there's a short circuit bringing it down. However, here's the reason why I think that there is a short circuit, even though my meter is lying to me and telling me there is no short circuit. The reason I think there's a short, even though my meter is telling me that there's no short, is because it's taking 300 milliamps. When PP3v3_G3 hot is not present, then it's not working. Typically it takes 10 to 30 milliamps, yet it's taking 10 times that amount of power, which is not what I would expect if there's no short circuit. The short circuit would also explain why it's being pulled down. I believe this board may have what's called an active short, where the short circuit is only present when there's power going through the affected component. So only once the affected component has a charge going through it does it then wind up opening something that shorts the ground. So we're going to see if that's the case using a thermal camera. So I'm going to use the thermal camera. Let's get that on the desk. But before we get that on the desk, it looks like we have all-out war opening up here in Rossman Repair Group, and we're going to have to take care of that first. Those are all shells in junk cases, so you don't have to worry about that. Huh? Liquid damage.
You can't liquid damage something with alcohol.
Yes, you can.
I guess you can take the grease out of the bearings. Hey, wait, I'm behind!
Here, we'll do something else. I have a better idea. I only got one shot. I hit the pilot. Oh! I hit the pilot and the drone. Counter-terrorist unit.
Oh, poor drone.
What the fuck? I hit it. You should be dead. I'm out of ammo. Where's my ammo? Shit. That was a shit shot. Damn it.
self-ejecting. It's awesome.
This doesn't shoot the same way the tiny pistol does.
I like the tiny pistols.
The tiny pistol's much better. I have... Let's see. I'm jammed! Uh-oh. No more safety goggles. Where have the safety goggles gone? Paul, what happened to safety goggles?
I have no idea.
Safety squint? Engage safety squint. I aimed this so that it was perfectly at Anel's head, and I made sure this was lined up for a good 3 seconds, and it shot the wall.
They're not accurate.
This the pistol has sick aim. This doesn't have aim at all. This is just good for firing off fast shots, but it's not the same. I'd never be able to shoot Steve in the dick with this, or shoot his gun out of his hand. There's no accuracy. I like the pistol. I'm a fan of the pistol. Alright. Do you have a thermal camera?
I think it's up front.
I have an active short that's trolling me.
Active short, that's false.
Yeah, 300,000 ohms, but it's taking 300 milliamps. I need... Here, thermal cam. Thermal cam?
You don't have Ethernet.
I'll find Ethernet.
Right by your phones on your left.
Some self-leveling concrete. I want to fill up the short circuit with some self-leveling concrete. We should have a self-leveling concrete station at the new place that looks like a water dispenser, but it dispenses self-leveling concrete. Lewis did an 8-hour stream, did I? When is the stream going to end? When I'm sick and tired of fixing MacBooks. Since Eric is back, I'm trying to have more of a something resembling a work-life balance. Alright, so we've got my self-leveling thermal camera powered by self-leveling concrete. Beep, beep, beep. Eric is not a customer. I'm still waiting for her to pay her bill on that MEM VTT enable repair. And we'll be undoing the work shortly. Alright, so the thermal camera has turned itself on. But myself leveling concrete. Myself leveling concrete. Alright. What's taking 300 milliamps?
See you Wednesday or Tuesday.
See you later, Paul.
Don't forget, it's 4 o'clock
4 o'clock in...
in New Jersey.
What's... Jersey? Alright, so this resistor's getting warm. That's the inrush resistor, though. Each CD3215 is a cool 27 Celsius. On the other side of the board, we have something getting warm over here. 50 Celsius? What is that? I'm going to take my tweezer and try to figure out what that is. Alright, now it's right on top of what it is. I'm going to engage English mode in the software. So it's this chip. Now, is that chip really getting to be 50 Celsius? Ah, it seems like it is. Seems like that could be an active short. Well, next thing I'm kind of interested in is what does that chip do? And does PP3V3_G3 hot even go to it? Well, there's only one way to find out now, isn't there? We're going to use Paul Daniels' amazing software, and we're going to click over. And one of the things that I find pretty interesting is Paul Daniels' software says that that chip doesn't exist. But, am I really? What? Okay, that's what the board looks like. But the board view says there's nothing there. But there's a chip. But the board view says there's nothing there. But there's a chip. But the board view says there's nothing there. But there's a chip at the... Apple, are you gaslighting me? You gotta be fucking with me. What the fuck? Where's my chip, David?
What chip?
Okay, so on the thermal camera over here, you see how it says there's a square chip that's burning in the corner? It says there's a square chip that's burning, right?
What about the other side?
Nothing. This whole area is like 30 Celsius. This side is, that chip is 54 Celsius. If you look on the microscope camera, you'll see that that chip is a chip. But then if you look in the board view,
Oh yeah.
what is it? What? That's just aggravating.
What schematic do you have? What board is that?
820000840, and this is an 840. I made sure I'm not using an 875 schematic for an 840. That's just cruel. Okay. Let's replace it. Let's pray that I have a full donor board for that, not one of those stupid wings. And then... Did you just shoot you in the tailbone? David, that's cruel to shoot somebody in the tailbone like that.
The 875 board doesn't have it.
Maybe I have an 875 board view that's labeled 00840. Yeah, because the 820-00875 board does not have that
What
chip.
does page 1 on the schematic say? The PDF.
Page 1 says X502 MLB, August 9th, 2016.
That sucks.
Yeah, maybe they just gave me the wrong board view. The schematic is correct, but the board view is not. Well, do we have any 00840 boards there? Or is it all 820-00875? Oh, beautiful.
Fresh from China.
Fresh from China.
Yeah, you can tell it's from China. They drill a hole for the essence.
Well, I guess I'm never going to know what this chip is for. Yeah, Piernov just confirmed that the 00875 and 00840 board view is the same file. So most likely, we don't have a schematic for this one. We don't have a board view for this, even if we have a schematic for it. That's kind of lame. So, I'm not really sure what this thing does. Perhaps this is the spy chip. This is the Spy on America chip. I'm kind of curious if you even need that thing. Maybe it's just optional. Paul Daniels is back. Everybody give a nice round of applause to Paul Daniels in the chat for producing this amazing software that helps make my life easier. And to Piernov as well, who assists Paul Daniels with the software. Both talented board repair people and programmers that deserve more credit than they get. And money. A nice welcome and hello to Paul Daniels. Hero of the Republic. Yeah, same. I hate that with what they do with the 00138 as well, because there's enough. Try troubleshooting the MEM-VTT enable circuit using any of the other available schematics. It'll drive you nuts because the transistors are all opposite. They're the other way. So you have to trace back from the resistors that go to them and then use the dots in the transistors to figure out which way they're oriented to figure out what it is, because they use the same transistors in the same MEM-VTT enable circuit, just in different spots. Even if it's a coil cluster, what is PP3V3_G3 hot doing going to it? I don't understand. Oh. Okay, going to let the board rapid cool for a moment there. I was using this little box cutter as a heat shield for those 2 underfilled chips down there. I don't want anything with underfill on it getting heated. All right, it's taking 40 milliamps, and then it jumps all the way up to 20 volts at 500 milliamps, which means it's turning on. So I knew that it was going to turn on from the moment I saw it was only taking 40 milliamps rather than 300, because the lower milliamp usage means my short is gone. If my short was still there, then it would have still been taking 300 milliamps from the get-go rather than slowly starting with a small amperage draw and then growing as it does on a typical working board. Again, one of the things I think is important to get across here is that you can still have a short circuit even if you don't measure a short circuit. You can have 300,000 ohms to ground, as I did, but still have a short circuit, because the way what's going on is that the chip is only having a short circuit when it has power going through it. So once it has power go through it, that causes something to go, some pathway to open up that wouldn't otherwise open up, that sends this power rail to ground. And it's something you also can't really measure for, because if you try to measure for a short circuit, if you try to use a multimeter to measure the resistance of something with power going through it, it's not going to work. And that's the issue that we were having here. So you can indeed have a short circuit where even if there's a resistance reading of about 300,000 ohms to ground, which is going to confuse a lot of people. The thermal cam showed that was getting to 54 Celsius, which it's not going to do if there's not a short circuit. PP3V3_G3 hot is not going to be 0.2 volts instead of 3.3 volts without a short circuit if it's creating that much heat. So that's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. Give a shout out to Paul Daniels at youtube.com/19PLD73. That's youtube.com/19PLD73 to say thank you very much for this lovely, beautiful software that helps us do our job. And happy holidays. Merry Christmas. See you in the next one.